I was still holding on to my past, and I was still living as if I was that person, as if all of that baggage came with me everywhere I went, and I had to carry it all the time. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." I'm Libby. I've been going to church here for almost 3 years now. I'm an adoptive parent. My daughter is Ariel. I grew up in 100 Mile, grew up in a Christian home, went to Christian school. We went to church, but it was still rough at home. Lots of fighting, lots of arguing. Yeah, it was hard, but I grew up knowing God, or at least who He was, and believing in Him. Had a bunch of really awful circumstances that I went through when I was younger, and I guess I let that shape me because I was so ashamed. I didn't know how to deal with it. I tried to talk to people about it, and I guess I started to have this stigma towards Christians of like, they just don't actually care. They want you to care about God, but they don't want to care about you. Around the age of 16, I consciously made the decision that I was just not going to go to church anymore. I was not going to be involved with church life anymore, and Christians could back off. And so I gave in to my labels that I'd collected through high school, and I got a really bad reputation for myself going around town, and I'd earned it, definitely. I'd been through a bunch of different relationships with people. I thought for sure I was gonna marry this one guy and living in sin, and I remember having basically like a mental breakdown and running away from him and saying like, I don't want this. I don't even know if I ever did want this. I just wanted something. And then I ended up in a really terrible relationship where I was just so mistreated, and my trust in people was so annihilated. But throughout all of that, there was still this gentle push of he was still there. And I would constantly brush it off and ignore it and keep going the way I wanted to go and keep trying to satisfy myself with different things and different people and different places. And I mean, it temporarily worked for sure. There's lots of highs, and the lows I could ignore because the highs were so good. The whole time, I never felt complete. I never felt secure. I never felt loved. I never felt wanted. And I moved back home with my parents into the chaos again. And my mom kept asking me to go to church with her. Please go to church with me. Come back to church with me, over and over and over. And I remember there was a point where finally I was like, okay, fine, I will go with you. I remember her face. She was like, you will? Okay, let's go. And we went to church, and the pastor was talking about he loves you. He loves you where you're at, no matter what you've done, no matter what you've chosen to do, no matter what's been done to you. And I remember that's what hit me hard, was hearing the no matter what's been done to you, because I thought for whatever reason that anything that had been done to me, because it was out of my control, it was also out of his ability to forgive, I guess. And I remember sitting there and going like, that can't be right. Like, oh wait, so he loves me and he wants me? And I needed that at the time. That's what I needed, was to be wanted and needed. And then I went one Sunday and he talked about redemption and forgiveness. I kept throwing myself down at his feet, and I kept over and over and over. Every single time I wound up drinking again, or every single time I was just hanging out with the wrong crowd, I would just go back and say, Lord, I need you, I need you, I need you. A few months later, I was doing really well, and I was feeling really secure, and I was feeling really safe, and I felt really loved, and then my mom died. And I remember first thinking like, Lord, why? Why would you do this now? Like, your timing sucks. Like, I remember just thinking, like, this is the absolute worst timing. I need my mom. She's the only Christian in the house. Like, I need her to keep me coming to you. Like, why would you take her from me? And he showed me this picture of the pain that she was in and the struggling that she was going through and everything she'd been through in life and everything that happened to her. You didn't do this to me, you took her. And she's perfect in heaven and she's happy and she's with you, and why would I wish her back? Like, how dare I? Yeah, just as much as I didn't think that he could use that situation with my mom passing away for his glory, but he has, and it's evident to me. He's also kind of shown me that my plans are not the best, that his are, because as much as I always wanted to be a parent, I didn't think I ever wanted to be a single parent, let alone a single adoptive parent. It's come with a lot of challenges. Just the adoption process itself was so much work, and heartbreaking work. Like, they're not kind. They're not considerate of your emotions in the situation. Like, I'm fairly certain, I know. The ministry would not have adopted to me after my mom passed and I fought to get my foster sister. They would not have adopted to me if God had not changed me, because I was not a responsible person. I was not a level-headed person. I wasn't caring. I wasn't gentle. I wasn't kind. I wasn't considerate. Who I am in Christ is so much better. It's led me down this crazy, amazing road. Things that I never thought I would achieve, he's achieved for me. And yeah, 3 years. It took 3 years of fighting with them and going back and forth to sign the papers this past fall for the final adoption papers. Every couple days I have new revelations of who he is and why he does the things he does, and new understandings that I know can only be from him, because they don't always line up with how I think or what I expect or what I want. And it was just like, okay, I've been praying for 4 years of being single almost. Maybe I don't want to be alone forever. Maybe I would like to have someone else walk with me, with God. Okay, maybe. And I was not looking. And I think that's probably why the light was so spotlighted. It was just like, here's this neon sign arrow pointing over top of him, like, here he is. And so Caleb asked if he could court me. And I said yes, obviously. And it's been absolutely incredible to see God through the whole process, because getting to know Caleb has been so effortless and so exciting. And I have never felt that way around another human being. So I was like, okay, this is awesome, Lord. I want you to stay in this. And we wholeheartedly are just we want God at the center of everything. And he has been tangibly. I was talking to a friend and just said, I feel like God has handcrafted this person to fit into my life, for me to walk with in life. We deal with conflict the same way. We have similar parenting styles. We have similar hopes, dreams, and desires. And all of that revolves around God. And that is so exciting to me. He said to me the other day, it's like you're handcrafted for me. And I remember just kind of being in awe and looking at him and thinking what? I said to him then that I had just said that about him for me a few days before. So when he asked me to marry him, I knew I could say yes. I knew that this was God and this was exactly his plan and his purpose. And so we're getting married.